My people, go you out of the midst of her, deliver you every man his soul from the fierce anger of Yahweh. Unless your heart faint, and you fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land, a rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. That's happening now. This is what America's going through. Now, according to the prophecies, these things have to happen so that we as a people must get up out of it. I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking about the children of Israel. It says here in verse 45, my people. Well, who is he referring to? My people, go you out of the midst of her and deliver you every man his soul from the fierce anger of Yahweh. So Yahweh's angry with America. They don't realize it. The things that they're going through in America today is because of the anger of Yahweh, Elohim of Israel. Now, why is Yahweh angry with America? We're going to see. Continue that. Let's go to Jeremiah 51, verse 7 and 8. Again, we're talking about what we see happening in America now. America have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. What is her wine? Democracy and Christianity. America is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. Let's continue. Let's go to Isaiah 47, verse 1 to verse 3. Isaiah 47, verse 1 to verse 3. We're going to see what America's going through, already written down thousands of years ago. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Europe. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Aryans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone and grind meal, uncover thy locks, and make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. You see the confusion in America? They don't know where that's coming from. They want to blame everybody. Let's go to, again, Jeremiah 51, verse 12 to verse 14. Jeremiah 51, verse 12 to verse 14. Set up the standard upon the walls of America. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. For Yahweh hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of America. O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, in the measure of thy covetousness. Yahweh of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men, as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. Well, don't we have that now? All those millions of people that poured across the border, and they're trying to get them out now. You're looking at 10 to 20 million people, illegal aliens in America, and you're trying to get them all out of America. You're not going to do this. It took 4 years to get all those people into America. So this is an ongoing thing. They're trying to get all these illegal aliens out of America. But Yahweh put them there. He put all those illegal aliens in America. Why? Because he's angry with America. White Americans don't know that the God of Israel is angry with them. Now, you can call on your Christian God all you want, but what's happening in America is already written down in the Bible. Now, of course, I don't expect Christians to even read this part of the book. These are the prophets. You Christians cannot read the prophets and understand. But see, we are Israelites. We are the sons of Jacob. And Yahweh has had mercy upon us in these latter days and has opened up the Bible to his people, not to Christians. That includes both black and white Christians. Neither one can read the prophets. He's opened the book up to his people. We are God's people. No matter what you see black people out there doing, they're still God's people. I know it sounds crazy, but only because they act the way they do because they don't keep the commandments.
What many people don't understand is that it's over for America. America has seen its best days. You know, there used to be a time when the world looked up to America and thought America was the great example of what a country could be. But all the other countries are catching up. The American people are struggling. Our leadership sucks. The parties are whack. And every single day we're praying for inflation to go down. Unfortunately, everyone's pretending like things are okay. And that's the worst part about it. The next couple of years, we're going to see a huge change in America. Potentially, we may see destruction, we may see civil war, we may see all-out battle between the states. Next presidential election is going to be crazy. And I still love living here. I still love America. But let's be real. All empires fall. And I think America has fallen.
The Fall of America, Part 2. Yesterday I meant to get back on and give the Part 2, but I didn't get a chance, so I wanted to get on and do it now. And what I was saying is, it's going to be fought on this soil. It isn't like we're going to go over somewhere and fight. No, this is coming to this soil. The Lord showed me foreign soldiers just walking around, and he just showed me a desolate place, like there had been explosions and just desolate, and these soldiers were just walking around, and it seems like we were hiding. People think that America is so strong because people commented, that, never happened here. America will never fall. That's the arrogance of America. And that's why we're at the place that we are at. No one is all powerful, and no, not any one person can never be beaten. If you take the strongest fighter in the world, there's someone out there that can beat him. And that's how America views things and has viewed things for so long. So the world looks at us as bullies, and we look at us as being all powerful. Beloved, nobody is all powerful but God. So what we need to do is get our houses in order. You need to repent. You need to ask God to forgive you. And we need to repent as a nation to turn the wrath of God. But we won't do that because we are very, very arrogant and feel we cannot be beaten. So, beloved, people will believe the warning. People won't. I had a member of my church call me last night and say that the Lord told him that he's like a broken record. He keeps saying it over and over and over again. This is what the Lord said to him, like a broken record. Think of that. It just keeps playing over and over and over again, and people ignore it, and people won't listen. So remember today, beloved, the Lord loves you, and that's why he sends warning. The Lord sends warning. The word of God says he does nothing without first revealing it to his prophets. He is sending warning after warning, and all the prophets are aligned, the true prophets of God, with a warning about what will befall America and what will come. People refuse to listen. So that was the word. That's what he showed me. Things are coming upon America that we have never seen. We have never seen what's coming to America. Remember, the Lord loves you, and so do I.
The fall of the white America has been predicted, and the prophets have been able to see, the professors have been able to see, church is seeing, the bishops are seeing, a lot of people are seeing this fall of the white America. And white America is falling because black people, on the other hand, they've decided they can no longer be controlled and they can no longer be taken the way the white America thinks it can take them. The black people have always been taking care of America. they've always been making sure America looks better and America looks nice. But on the other hand, what does America do to them? Now, this is something very, very crucial, you know, and America might have caused these things, or it might have caused these problems to itself. You know, it might have bring everything that is happening to itself. You know, and is there a way for it to save itself? In Swahili we say msiba wa kujitakia hauna kilio. Is anybody going to sympathize or have empathy in America or for America for what it's going through right now? America has been a greatest empire, an empire where things have been happening. They've been doing things regardless. They don't care about other people. They didn't care about those other people. They never wanted, you know, to know how you're faring on, how a brother and a sister looks like. They did not want to care about that. And we've seen many things happening in this land of America where people didn't care about other people. They would come to our countries and do anything. They would go to every places and oppress people. African Americans have been suffering in this land for a very long time, walking on the road, carrying placards, and trying to explain to the government that this is not actually what we want. What we want is this. But every time they did this, they were turned down. And the white privilege prevailed every single day. Black people were looked down upon. Blacks fought. They cried. They struggled because of the oppression. But at the end of the day, they didn't get anything in return. They were turned down day in, day out, every single day, every single moment, not having nobody to run to and explain to them what they were feeling, you know. But right now, we're seeing a change. Where is this change coming from? The change is coming from now God himself, because black people no longer have to fight. They're not the one fighting. They're not the one now complaining. They're just quiet, sitting somewhere and seeing the fall happening itself. And many of them are asking themselves, how possible is it? I'm sure you also ask yourself the same question. How possible is it for this greatest empire that has been ruling for a very long time to start falling by itself without anybody now shaking it? They would have blamed black people for shaking it down, of putting it down. But right now, things aren't working out. Everything is becoming a problem. Anything the government does doesn't work for the people. And everything is really going down massively. Do you believe in this? Do you trust that this is God working out for the black people actually? Because it's blacks who have been fighting all the times and crying all the times. You know, tell me what you think in the comment section. I will do my best to make sure I read all the comments and give a response where possible. But before that, I want you to watch these videos, pay attention to them, and at the end of it, say something about it.
The world just witnessed Donald Trump make one of his boldest moves yet. And this time it wasn't aimed at China or Mexico. It was aimed straight at Canada. In a stunning demand, Trump called on Canada to hand over control of its key Pacific ports, claiming it's the only way to protect American interests. But what started as a trade comment quickly turned into a geopolitical earthquake, because for the first time in decades, Canada didn't flinch. It pushed back hard, and that single act of defiance might have just exposed the truth. Washington doesn't want to admit that U.S. dominance isn't what it used to be. So the question now isn't what Trump said, it's why he said it, and what this tells us about the future of American power. Trump's demand wasn't just about ports, it was about power. When he said the U.S. should have authority over Canada's key shipping routes, it wasn't a random comment, it was a message, both to America's allies and to its rivals. For decades, Washington has treated Canada as more than a neighbor, as an extension of its strategic reach. Together they control the world's longest undefended border, coordinate military intelligence, and dominate North Atlantic trade. But beneath all that cooperation, There's always been a quiet imbalance. The US leads, and Canada follows. Trump's words ripped that quiet imbalance out into the open. By demanding control over Canadian infrastructure, he wasn't talking to Canada alone. He was talking to the rest of the world. He was saying America still calls the shots. But that's exactly what makes this so symbolic, because for the first time the world didn't agree. When Canadian officials, including former Bank of England Governor Mark Carney, publicly dismissed Trump's demand, it signaled something deeper, that even America's closest partners no longer see it as the automatic center of gravity. This moment wasn't just about a port, it was about the psychology of empire. Every superpower reaches a point where it has to demand loyalty rather than earn it, and that's when decline begins to show. What makes Trump's demand so revealing isn't just what he said, it's why he said it. Because deep down, this isn't about Canada. It's about the growing anxiety inside America's own economy, a sense that the foundation that once made the U.S. untouchable is beginning to crack. For decades, Washington dictated global trade routes. The dollar wasn't just a currency, it was a weapon, a crown, a statement of dominance. Every nation, from Europe to Asia, played by America's economic rules. But over the past decade, that quiet authority has started to fade. Look at the symptoms. The U.S. is running record deficits. Its industrial heartlands are hollowed out. Inflation has eaten away at middle-class confidence. And while the government talks about reshoring and economic revival, the reality is that production power has shifted east. When Trump demands control over foreign ports, he's really trying to control something much bigger, the narrative of strength. It's a political reflex to economic insecurity. Think about it. A confident superpower doesn't need to demand control. It simply commands respect through scale, efficiency, and influence. But a worried superpower begins to cling to symbols, to borders, to slogans like America First. And that's where we are now. In Washington, both parties talk tough on trade, but global investors are quietly diversifying toward the BRICS economies, toward alternative currencies, toward systems that don't rely on U.S. leadership. Every headline about tariffs, every speech about bringing jobs home, is part of a deeper story, a story of fear that America's economic engine no longer runs the world's machinery. Trump's statement, then, isn't an outburst. It's a symptom of what happens when the world's largest economy begins to question its own reflection. But what happens when that insecurity turns outward? When economic anxiety becomes geopolitical aggression?
The Republicans know they cannot win the midterms if they've already damaged the very working class that they depend on for those votes. And that is how you know that they know exactly what they're doing, that they are intentionally harming their own voters, but delaying it until after they've gotten their vote first. Delaying it until it's too late for them to do anything about it. They're getting the working class to vote against their own interests. When the American empire finally collapses, historians will not be shocked by the greed of the elite. They're going to be appalled by the loyalty of the poor. Working class didn't just vote against their own interest. They worshiped the very billionaires that were exploiting them. They slashed their own benefits. They gutted their own health care. They took food away from their children. And they didn't do it because it would help them. They did it because they were told it would hurt someone else. And that's exactly what we're seeing as we attack an entire group of human beings.
Y'all want to know one real reason why America's crashing out like crazy right now? Mediocrity don't hit like it used to, baby. See, once upon a time in America, you could be real mid and still thrive. Mediocre effort, boom, you get a house, car, annual vacation, pension, hell, maybe even a boat. You could clock in, coast through the week, grill on Sundays, and still retire with dignity. But that era is dead and gone, baby. And instead of leveling up or adapting, they're mad, they're bitter, and they're not even blaming the billionaires. They blaming you. They have the audacity to blame me. They blaming immigrants, black people, queer folk, anyone they think is taking something that used to be theirs by default. See, they don't want equality. They want comfort. And when mediocrity no longer gets them that comfort, they start rewriting the rules to rig the game again. It ain't about fairness. It's about preserving the lie. The lie that being average should still be enough for them.
In Fall of America in 1973, listen to his words. America and England deposited their little brother Israel on foreign soil. Palestine, which is Arab land. They deprived the Arabs of their own land and sent them into exile. It's called a Nakba, which means a catastrophe. This injustice against the Arabs is now costing America the power and authority that she once exercised in the Middle East. Listen to his next words. She is on her way out of the Near East. And this means bloodshed and plenty of it. America is not going to stay in the Middle East. And I have to tell you, Israel won't remain there either. That's prophecy, but I got it from the mouth of God, and I'll tell you how it's going to happen and show it to you in your scriptures.
Phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years. Actually, it's overfulfilled, because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I...
They hate the whore. They don't like America. They hate America. And it says that the beast and them will strip her naked, eat her flesh, burn her with fire. It's an inside job. America is destroyed from the inside. It's, if you ever seen, there's a movie called The Manchurian Candidate. Phenomenal movie for you to really understand what's happening and what's about to happen.
The most honorable Elijah Muhammad says, America is falling, her doom is sealed. Now, I'm serious. I don't understand why black people trip so much. on the fall of America, what we gonna do? Don't you know we already at the bottom? Now just think about that for a second. When the Dow Jones reports that it's down 12 points, what happens to your account? Nothing. When they say that we're not even on the board with them. So why are we so concerned with Allah's hand of retribution, chastisement and judgment of our enemies when we already at the bottom? Don't you know that if you are already at the bottom and an object that is big is falling, it ain't for you to cry and be concerned with the fall. It's for you to step out the way so that it can fall and not land on you. That's all we got to do is step out the way of the fall of America. We already at the bottom.